Hey everybody, listening to the Katana podcast with me, Invisible Katana. This week, or I guess next week, technically, I'll be doing 2 episodes. So if you enjoy this one, please check out the 2 that I'm going to be doing next week. Because with finals and all this stupid crap, I had to miss doing my podcast last week. Unfortunately, I'm almost finished. I have like a couple more days. I just have to turn in these finals and then done. Unfortunately, I have to also go to the viewings for the projects because they're a big deal, I guess. But I'll be doing 2 podcasts next week. My plan for my very next one, I have the idea to actually talk about, more specifically some of the games that I'm going to be mentioning today that were shown off for the first time at the PlayStation Experience and the Video Game Awards. But this one is more about the Video Game Awards and the PlayStation Experience and gaming award shows in general, just, the gaming shows that we get, E3, as well as the more award-based TV shows that aren't exactly meant for premiering or anything like that. But this is one of those things, like the Video Game Awards, is one of those things that I always love having at the end of the year because really, the only big gaming thing we have is E3. And I love E3. I'm sure, if you're watching this, odds are you like E3 too. And I love that is like 4 days of me just watching television. It's like that's the only time I will not strictly play games is when I'm watching stuff about games at E3, and I will spend like all day just watching television. I will watch every interview. I will look at every trailer. I will watch all the footage that I can of any game, and I will, go on YouTube and stuff and try to find, if there's a game I'm really excited about, I'll try to find like all the different interviews for it and see if I can get some more information or see if there's somehow some different footage. If the person playing is like a different person, they might do something slightly different and we see a variant of a move we already saw before. But I love E3, and so outside of E3 there's like tiny little things here and there, and so we get the Video Game Awards and it's really fun. Like I really loved it. I thought it was great this year. One of the big things I think everyone can honestly say was much better than last year's. I think that was admittedly really easy to say. Like it was much better than last year's. Everyone kind of hated that one because it was admittedly really boring. It was just not the same. It didn't have the same type of energy, and this one kind of went back to what it normally was. It's not like the Spike TV or game trailers, Video Game Awards like they normally do. I believe it was only online. I didn't see it on Spike TV, excuse me, but it was good. It went back to the classic style, and I kind of like the fact that they mixed in more of of more gaming developers, and some of the new awards they gave out, like the gaming icon thing, I thought was really cool. And they had I think they spent like 15 straight minutes on that, giving the history of Sierra and, giving the awards to them and stuff, or the award. And I thought that was really cool. It was one of my favorite moments because it was just like, this is kind of the point of these gaming awards. It's not just to be like, yep, we like this game and that game. We do at some point have to say like these people behind the games are, why we're here right now, because they did stuff so decades ago that kind of helped make gaming come back to the forefront, and which is why we have it now. So I love that, getting to see a lot of developers come on stage, even if they were reading off of teleprompters and stuff, which that's kind of what any award show is. But it was a lot of actual developers coming out. They didn't have like one host, which I never minded. I never like hated hosts or anything like that when they'd have someone who was just like, a famous actor or something come on and host. I never thought that was a bad idea or anything. But, kind of like the icon thing being a new award that they did, it kind of, in my opinion, showed a bit more appreciation for gaming in general. Like we got actual developers, and I thought that was really cool. So I really loved that. Of course, all the awards are pretty fun to see who's going to win. I feel like them giving out the awards this year, in that aspect, I feel like it kind of flew by. Like, for some reason, it seemed like it was so fast-paced with the awards. I felt like it was just like, boom, here's the awards, and it's done. And I don't know why I felt that way. I guess because they did kind of go fast, and I think it's because they had so many more this year compared to others. It wasn't like, in past years, it would kind of be like, these people won this award, and they would kind of just show it on TV like this was the best, mobile game or whatever. And this year, I think it was sort of a blend where it was really fast, but at the same time, they did kind of give everyone their awards. They did flat out say like, hey, you won this, and so here you go. So they actually showed those people winning. So in one way, it was kind of fast, but at the same time, it was the only logical balance because they were actually giving out the awards. They were actually filming them give out the awards to the actual winner. So it was actually really cool. The premieres are always really great. Like, you can't hate like a world premiere, like getting the new trailers and stuff like that. Always really cool getting to see new stuff come out, getting to see new footage of stuff that we have already heard of. We got to see a little bit of No Man's Sky, which we also got to see with the PlayStation Experience, which was, I think that was one of my favorite things, is because they were so close together, which was like one after the other. It was just like one after another, two great gaming events. And the gaming awards are of course going to stay annual like they always have, and the PlayStation Experience is going to be an annual thing now too. So that was a really great thing that we have, like, not only the Game Awards for people who like it, like myself, but we have the PlayStation Experience too, which if you get to go to that, it's even cooler because it's an entire weekend type of thing. And I don't know if they'll do this every year, but I would love it if they did like some of the cool exclusive things they did, they also did with the Video Game Awards. They kind of partnered up with Steam, and all the nominees were on sale, which I thought was an amazingly cool thing for them to do. Like, hey, it kind of helps the gamers who are supporting the shows and supporting the games already. It's like, hey, all these nominees, whether they won or not, everything's on sale. So that was really cool. With the PlayStation Experience, they had like the free game for Vita, free for PS3, and then one for PS4. I thought that was pretty sweet too. Mirror's Edge is like super old, so I wasn't, like, I love the game, I already have it, of course. So that's kind of why that one I didn't think was incredibly special. Like, if it was something else, I probably would have downloaded it, but it's like, like, I don't really feel the need to download it. But they had some cool stuff, like the one for PS4 I thought was pretty cool, because that one like only came out maybe last year or 2 years ago. So that one I thought was a much better deal. And also the PS Vita one, I can't really remember when most wanted came out, but I think both of those were much better deals than the PS3 one. But it was still really cool, and I would love it if they did that every year. If EA was like, here are the 3 selections we have, the one for mobile, one for, well, I guess next year they probably wouldn't have any reason to do for PS3, but they still might, just to help those people who haven't gotten a console. But it would be really sweet if they did that. And each year it was like, here's one for PS Vita that's free, here's a game for PS3, and here's one for PS4 that's free. And I think people would really love that, because it's free games, even if it's just one selection, even if it's an old game, if it's one you really love, or it's one on a console that may have broken, or you just don't want to take that whole console out. You have those options now. So I thought that was a really cool aspect of it. With the Video Game Awards, like I said, getting to actually see the people get the awards, I thought was really cool. We got, of course, Jeff Keighley and him, his interaction with things and him kind of helping things continue. But I thought the Video Game Awards this year were very well done. Everything looked pretty cool. They had the music like they typically do. It was just really nice, and I really enjoyed it. And it, partnering up with the PlayStation Experience in some aspects, at least, just the developers of the companies that happen to be going PlayStation exclusive, that was really cool, because it was a lot like E3, where it's like, here's the Xbox conference or the Sony conference, and it's like, okay, here's our game from EA. We'll show a little bit here, but you'll get to see more at our at our press conference. So I always love that, because it's like, here's the first half of a trailer, and then here's our second half at our own conference. And we get stuff like that, which I always love, because that just means we get more footage, which they did. I can't think of the name of the game, actually. It's like the one, it's kind of like, it's the one with Hayden Panettiere. I wish I could think of the name right now. I'm completely drawing a blank on it. But that game, Until Dawn, there it is. Until Dawn, we got to see a little bit at the Video Game Awards. We got to see them, basically they did a trailer, because they had her hide under the bed, and everyone was like freaking out. It's like, oh, what are you doing? So of course they kind of just showed off the game right there, and then we got like the really cool interaction during the PlayStation Experience, which I loved. And of course that was also one of my favorites, because it's just like, he knew what people were going to say. He knew what they chose, like what the person playing chose the day before. So that was really fun to watch as well. And it was just nice. Like, all of it I thought was really cool. We got to have like the double preview over the weekend, and it was really sweet. So I really loved it. PlayStation Experience, like I said, brought out a lot of cool things. We got to see a lot of old games come back. Grim Fandango Remastered, I think, is a big thing for a lot of people. Pretty much all the Double Fine stuff, I think, is any Double Fine game coming to something else tends to be pretty big because Double Fine does some awesome stuff. So, if Tim Schafer's like, hey, we have this coming back out, tends to be pretty epic. So that was pretty cool. The big thing with Final Fantasy VII, I know that probably pissed a lot of people off. And I saw a video by Alpha Omega Sin. I actually watched it today, but I saw the title, like, did Square Enix troll everybody with Final Fantasy VII? And as soon as I saw that, when I was watching the PlayStation Experience, I was like, that's why he made that video, because this isn't going to be the epic remaster that everyone's been asking for since the PlayStation 3 first came out. It's just going to be Final Fantasy VII, which admittedly, I thought that was kind of dumb. Like, I can admit that myself. I thought that just didn't make sense. Also, I thought the Street Fighter 4 thing coming out for PS4 didn't make sense myself. I mean, it's an upgrade. I'm sure there are still people who don't have it, and, now it's coming to PS4, and they're like, well, especially since they announced 5, it's like they can't possibly make another newer version. So I'm sure that still did appeal to some people where it's like, I can get this on PS4, and it'll still be really cool for me. So in some aspects that works. Like, if I had a PS4, it would technically still work for me because I don't have the most recent Street Fighter. I only have, like, the very original Street Fighter 4. So it actually would work for me if I was still interested. I have no idea how much it's going to cost. I would assume around 40 or maybe even 30 at this point. But because it's on PS4, I would still assume it's going to stop, it's going to drop only down to 40. They won't do it at 30, which I think would actually be an amazing deal. I think that would actually help them sell it even more. But I thought the Gaming Awards were really good. PlayStation Experience I thought was really sweet. Like I said, that for anyone who actually got to go there was probably a million times cooler because it was an entire weekend and they had pretty much every single game they showed was playable on the floor. So that was really cool. One of my favorites was definitely the one that David Jaffe had, and of course, seeing him come on stage and him cussing and stuff, I was like, it's just funny to see him on stage because it's like he's outspoken and that's who he is, and he kind of has this reputation in some cases. Like, some people kind of don't like him. I never had any issue with the guy. He makes great games. He's outspoken. What's the issue there? So, I thought it was awesome, and he comes out and he's just cussing and stuff, and he's like, they said I could, and I was like, that's kind of funny because that's what he does. He's energetic like that. So I thought it was actually pretty cool to have him out there on stage, and it was an awesome game he showed off that looked really cool to me. I was excited for that. The concept he had where it was like, we want you guys to test it out. It's like pre-alpha stage. Once you're done, we're gonna have like an impromptu survey type of thing with me and some other developers. I thought that was actually really cool, and it's like, showing off the game. You show off something sweet as early as it is. It doesn't matter. You let people play it. People will appreciate that. Like, I didn't even get to remotely experience that in person, but I just, as a concept, I was like, that's really cool because you don't get to see stuff that way. We don't get, pre-alpha games where we get to actually test them out. That's like reserved for QA testers and maybe some family members who get to go to the studios on certain days and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. Of course, getting to see kind of one of the Sony mascots, they have a billion, but we got to see Uncharted 4, which was really, really cool. I enjoyed that, and just everything we got to see on that was pretty sweet. The graphics looked good. Drake having a brother was just like mind-blowing for me, so I don't know what the heck that's going to be like, getting to play that. I can't wait to play it. I love the Uncharted franchise. It kind of took me back to the first one with them being on an island, at least, the little portion we saw. The fighting was pretty cool. It was a little more cinematic. They had one of the grapples where the guy had a handgun and, Drake kind of had his hand over him, so the guy's like shooting down, but he's not, hitting him and stuff. That was pretty cool. The grappling hook thing was really sweet, especially the first time he used it and he swung around and he drops off and punches the guy. That looked amazing. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I also kind of like the silly fact that there was a little glitch when he died. Like, the guy playing died and he fell, like, through the ground and stuff. I thought that was funny. It was like, I remember that happening when I, played, like, some of the other games. And it was just funny because, glitches in stage demos is, like, that big no-no. But it's funny when you get to just see stuff happen and you can kind of just move past it. And that was one of those moments. Nothing, like, nothing crashed or anything. He just fell off and he died. But it was kind of funny seeing that. I definitely enjoyed it. All the new games seem pretty cool. One of the things I kind of got jealous of was the PlayStation Experience deck meta game that they had going there, where it's like you play the demo, you get a card. I'm sure those you can find on eBay. They're probably on sale for like thousands of dollars, which is insane, but I'm sure someone will buy it because it's pretty cool. And overall, I loved it. I thought it's a great new gaming thing. I wish we could always have like one a month where some big gaming thing happens, but of course we can, and typically everything is saved for E3 anyway. So, it's always nice to have something. It would be really cool if after E3, like the PlayStation Experience was actually during the summer or like right at the end of summer. So it's like every couple of months we have something until the new year starts, and we kind of have to wait after the December and then E3 starts up again. That would probably be my ideal choice. But the way we have it now, it's not just, the Game Awards anymore. We get the Game Awards one night and then we get the PlayStation Experience the next day. So it's not as long. It's not like E3 where it's like 4 days, which typically is like the whole week. There's still a ton of stuff that won't get covered. There's a lot of things that will come out even after E3 or, before E3 technically begins and ends. There's still a lot of stuff there. So it's not as long as E3, of course, but it's 3 good days of gaming. And I definitely love that. I love, of course, the reason I'm doing this, I love any big gaming moments that we get to have every year. So I'm excited for the PlayStation Experience to come back for sure. It's one of those things where, with it being exclusive to to Sony, it's not like the Game Awards where it really is the video game awards. It's us celebrating games. We get to see the cool trailers and some world premieres and stuff, but it won't be like the PlayStation Experience where it's like, hey, here's this new design or whatever we're coming out with. Here's a new peripheral, or if they have a new console that they maybe aren't ready to announce at E3, they will probably do it during the PlayStation Experience. If it's, it's like, it's just too early to show, where it's like, we did announce it at E3, here's the finished product, or here's at least a physical prototype that we can show off, and maybe like a super early demo of the only demo we even have for this console that we created, like this new portable or whatever. It's one of those things that's really exciting because it's their own thing. It's not just an award show. It's an actual Sony thing. And that's always better. That's always more entertaining because it kind of hits you more hardcore than a gaming award show would, where you just get to celebrate the games you love. It's like, hey, here's something new to love about gaming. So I definitely enjoyed the Game Awards this year. Definitely glad it's kind of back to form. I think everyone feels kind of the same about that after last year's Game Awards. Love the PlayStation Experience. Can't wait to see what happens with that one next year and how they do decide to manage things now that they've started up their own thing in December as well, and how they'll kind of split their time between here are big announcements at E3 and here are big announcements or update announcements for the PlayStation Experience, as well as here are some of our partnering announcements that they partner with for the Game Awards. So I'm excited for both those things to come up next year. Don't know, really what's going to be announced at E3, of course, next year, but I definitely can't wait for these two to come back. It's our end of the year gaming blowout, so that's always a nice little treat, like at the end of the year, especially for, people like me in college, where it's like, God, I'm dealing with finals, which I just hate, and then it's like, here's a nice little gaming treat for me, which is like just my favorite thing is video games. So it's always a nice little reprieve from just finals and everything. It's like I get to just have a weekend where it's almost like E3, which can't really be beat because E3 is of course during the summer, so it's just, that's just perfect. But this is definitely a great little bonus at the end of the year, so I love it. Of course, I want to know what you guys thought about the gaming awards as well as the PlayStation Experience, so put your comments down in the comment section below. Of course, thank you for listening. Like I said, my plan is to go more in depth about like Uncharted and Drawn to Death and stuff in my next podcast episode. So if you actually do want to hear about that, please let me know in the comments below. And of course, thanks for listening.